Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm out of frame, but I really don't care because I'm not the one being showcased here. It's this over here. This is my Spirit Halloween Proton pack. I'm going to go over what I did to it, how it functions, that sort of thing. And yeah, then I'm going to give, like at the very end, I'm going to give a little slideshow about what I actually did to, how I actually did, because I took pictures of the entire process. And starting things off, I just completely repainted this thing. This thing used to be like a weird gray coloring. I think there's still a little bit, you can see pretty much of the top over here a little bit, but it was a very weird gray coloring that I completely just took everything off of this thing that I could and painted a satin black. A lot of the members on the Spirit building forums, but there's a great community on Facebook that I'm a part of. They basically they use a lot of like matte blacks, a lot of flat blacks, but all I had was satin, and it came out pretty good. Like it had that little bit, has a nice little sheen. Like it's not, can't really see it too much on like the studio lights I have set up over here, but it looks really nice in person. Yeah, I took off all the like stock stickers, that sort of thing, just completely painted it satin black, and then I started putting it back together with the Sponge Face McGee cosmetic kit, which included the ribbon cable, the ion arm, this little bolt that was on the shock mount, this tubing on the, this used to be like a green, you can see a little bit on the bottom here, I don't think you can really see it on camera, but there's a green wire that goes from here to here that was covered with like a little bit of this. Then next, afterwards, when everything was dried, I put everything back onto it. And then I started actually doing some other little modifications here and there. I changed out the hose to that attaches from like the pack to the wand, because the original one's very stiff. This one's nice and pliable. I'm able to take care of, unholster from the Buster Props V-hook kit that I have on here. Yeah, this part over here. There's also the part on the wand as well. There's another video on YouTube that actually talked about how it's impossible to get into the wand to do like electronic work and stuff like that, because usually these gun tracks that they like, these 3D printed gun tracks they put on here, they don't have like the screw holes, but this actually is a version 2 Buster Props V-hook kit, which basically I'm able to take a screwdriver and actually go into there, take it off if I need to do any replacement and stuff or anything. Or if I want to change the mode, I have this thing actually in dual pack mode, which includes slime. But I'll get into that in a little bit. Also on the wand, I also have the Sponge Face McGee wand tip upgrade. This is a very, it looks miles ahead of the original stock tip. Like, it looks so much better this way. On the side, I have a injector tube wire kit that's from Brian 3D Prints on Etsy. I'll have all the links to everything in the description if you ever want to do anything to your own pack. Highly recommend it. It was like one of the best things I've ever done in recent years, just because it kept me sane during quarantine, and also the fact that I lost my job back in April. So, but that's besides the point. Here's a better view of the Alice frame. This is a genuine U.S. Army Alice frame, which I have genuine straps, but they're like aftermarket straps. I think these are original. I'm not too sure about, but they do have the quick release on here on top. This makes things a lot more comfortable. It's a piece of like foam insulation that I just zip tied up there, and it makes a lot of difference with the original thing being very, very uncomfortable. Almost forgot about the stickers I use. These are from Moby Sign Co. They're also on Etsy. Really nice. They have different types of stickers that you can get for your Proton pack. I got the original kind of non-weathered. He also has 3 levels of weathering. Non, sort of weathered, and really weathered. I went for the non just because I wanted to do the weathering myself. But after finishing and all this, I'm gonna probably keep it the way it is. Maybe do a very, very little weathering because I like the just new, like the just produced look to this. Yeah, that's pretty much the overview of like everything that I put onto this. Oh, I completely forgot about the motherboard that I have attached to the house frame. The motherboard is an MDF motherboard that a guy over on the forums actually sells. Like, he sells them on eBay too. But if you buy from him directly, you'll be able to get the mounting screws and stuff like that. Because don't know if you can really see it on camera, but these are upgraded like mounting screws. Like, the original ones were like smaller. So that attaches like the pack to the board. There's also like these like little spacers on that make it just like a little bit. You can see them like right there and up there. Just overall pretty nice. I also have within the pack itself, I have the sponge face electronics kit, like all the electronics in here. And really, if you really want to, like, take a look at we'll take a look in the inside and we'll go from there. Alright, took off the motherboard, and here's the inside. I have the standard blue battery that everybody goes for. It's really nice. And I just realized I didn't talk about this in the pack overview, but this like a resistor over here is actually connected to the inside over here that I'm able to like control volume, that sort of thing. And it's another thing from Spongeface. Like I said, everything will be in the description. Sorry, it's a little dusty, but everything. I did a lot of like wire management to just different things. I was able to connect with zip ties just so I can make things a little cleaner in here. And because I'm a bit of a neat freak when it comes to this type of thing, well, except for up here, I gotta probably manage that a little bit better. But let's take a look at this thing actually turning on. So, with the battery all set and with the everything connected in there, I just flip the bottom switch over here. So all the lights go on, the little bar graph on the wand go on. Then I could just hit the intensify. If I hold that thing long enough, it will have a override, like an overload system, which adds like the pretty much the cool things to this pack. And since I have this thing in dual pack mode, I'm able to flip the top switch. This one changes colors down here. Like, it would be a lot more greener if I actually didn't have like the red on there. On the wand, it turns green. Wand tip. Really nice. It's really impressive how this thing actually looks the part now that everything's there. So once everything's finished, go back into Proton mode, then power down. Well, that pretty much says it for what I've actually done to this thing. If you ever want, you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask me. I've been pretty much doing this like the entire year, since April. And I'm quite impressed with like how it turned out. Like, I originally bought the pack last year, and I never had the opportunity to like do anything with it just because of time restraints and stuff like that. But overall, it's a very fun project to work on. Very, just very relaxing for me because I love doing things with my hands. I love making things like this. And to really just have a childhood dream of actually owning a replica replica Proton pack was just amazing. Like, full sizes can go up to like about $3,000 depending on who you buy from and where you buy from. So basically, for something that literally cost me under $300 to really modify, it was worth it. Like, everything in all cost me under $300. So I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Very happy with all the improvements on here. And really, I mean, there's a lot more stuff I could probably add to it. A lot more things I could do to it. But right now, it's where I want it to be. So I'm pretty happy with it. So like I said, if you want like any information about what I did with this pack, what I plan on doing, definitely check out the Spirit Owners group on Facebook. I'll be there to, answering questions, or helping out people, because I've reached the point where I'm very impressed with, the work that's done, and I want to help everybody else. And one other thing I forgot to mention at the very beginning of the video, when I was going over the stuff I've done to it, the little details really help. And I added hex cap screws to the HGA over here. Like it was originally like a molded plastic, and I chopped them off, sanded it down, and I added some screws over here, and then I used some JB Weld. Like I used JB Weld to basically anchor down a lot of stuff that needed to be anchored down. Like this thing's not going anywhere now because I used JB Weld on the clipboard, and then JB Weld on the screws up here. So a lot of things are not going anywhere on this thing. Like I'm gonna have to probably drop this thing for it to actually break on me. But that's it. Yeah, still not getting over the fact that this thing is very tiny in the hands. That's a lot of people's issues with it, but I think, in the future I'll probably maybe get like a 85% wand, something that will be scaled to the pack itself. But right now this is fine for me because I put all the work into it, and I'm quite happy with how it turned out. Like I said before, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I will be happy to answer anything that I would pretty much do. And now let's go into the process in which I use this, or let's go into the process of me actually doing everything to it through the use of picture and sound. So thank you for watching, and let's go right into it. Alright, first things first, you want to take out all the stock electronics from the pack itself. To get there, you have to go through the 5 screws. Like I showed you that there were upgraded screws on the new motherboard, but the original one had these shorter screws that was attached to a bunch of cardboard and foam. And let's just say that as soon as you get those off, you can expose it to the electronics. You're able to do what you have to do in there, make some like inner shell modification, and yeah, it's actually like really beneficial to actually do this first. Once everything is out of the back of the Proton pack, I was able to take off all the little 2 heads from the front of the pack, and that just includes like all the wires, all the things. I couldn't get the center hose there out, but that's okay. I just covered it over with some painter's tape before I started with the painting. Was able to also put it into 2 different sections. That's just made painting a lot easier, and it was also pretty easy to put back together as soon as I was able to. For this step, the old speaker holes on the pack itself, to make it look really nice, kind of flush, I was able to get some Bond out. Always ask your relatives or your father-in-law, in my case, that if they have any type of thing that they can really help you out with a project. He helped me out immensely with all the tools and like material and so after everything was like sanded down, I sanded the entire pack down just so the paint has something to adhere to, because I think this type of plastic had like some issues with like paint just sort of staying on it as it dried. So definitely scuff it up, make sure you're able to do that as well, and then put everything back together. Already it's looking pretty good. This next step was a little bit kind of difficult, just because you had to make all these like different holes in the wand itself. I was really nervous about doing this because I've never actually done any fabrication of sort, and actually I did not screw it up. I was actually quite pleasantly surprised with my with all the modifications I did during this part, just because it looked really complicated, and like the instructions, like I downloaded the instructions for all the electronics like prior to doing any or getting any of the electronics, just so in preparation for putting the electronics in there when the time comes. So actually really just take your time during this step and you won't screw yourself up. Like just use like different like styles of files. I could not tell you which ones I used because I don't have them in front of me at this moment, but that's okay. This part was actually a last-minute decision on my part. I wasn't going to do this at first, but then I decided, hey, it's all about the details, so I decided to put some hex cap screws into the HGA, and originally a bunch of guys on the forums told me, hey, why don't you actually put them into like the into the plastic itself, just because it will look a lot better, and you'll actually be able to holster and unholster the wand depending on the kit you get. And I was bent on getting the Buster Props kit as well, so I figured, okay, why not? Let's do it. Then I'm glad I did, because it looks a lot better this way around. This is the MDF motherboard that I bought off of from the forums, basically using this guy Eric. Like, you can find this on eBay as well, but I bought it from the source on Facebook. And let's just say that this makes all the difference. Like, it actually brought a little bit more weight to the pack. It gave it just the nicest like little thing as soon as everything was on there. You do have to drill a hole into the Alice frame just so you can get that final screw in there, but as soon as you do that, it makes it, this alone makes the pack so much better. This is the Brian 3D print injector booster tube, something like that, kit. And the only problem I had with this is just because it was a little weird spun. I wasn't able to find any clamps or anything to put the bottom mount onto the pack itself. So I just improvised, and I used some painter's tape, and I just left it alone for a few hours. And I just used some JB Weld. I pretty much, like I said, I used JB Weld for a lot of this project, and these things are not gonna come off anytime soon. Definitely use JB Weld where you can. When you get to this phase, definitely check out the instructions. It will tell you a lot of information about what to do, where everything goes, and trust me, you do not want things to, at this time of the phase, you do not want things to screw up on you, because it will make all the difference in all your hard work complete waste of time. But make sure you follow all the instructions, and you too can have your very own modded Spirit Halloween Proton pack. If you do have any other questions, I know I kind of breezed over quite a bit of information during this video, but let me know. I'll be happy to help you out. That's it. So thanks for watching. Keep watching, and take care.